And we're live with AirPlay 2020.
So, what do women want? Sex or sensuality? Friendship or love? Now, imagine three women, all of whom have been friends since school days. Further imagine that each of these three women exist in three separate but parallel universes. In each universe, any given woman retains her basic emotional baggage, but the circumstances of her life in terms of job, partner, culture, decisions taken, and so on will have changed her. Think now of the slippage between one universe and another. Maybe it's the life that any of the women daydream about as they do the ironing or sit at their desk at work. Maybe it's the life that they visit in their sleep, in their dreams. Or maybe it actually is happening in another universe or can be made to happen if only once one wants it enough. All those unsatisfied elements in one's life. That feeling that an incident has happened before, that you visited a place before, even though this is the first time you've been there. That sense of waste in your life. But of course, there is sometimes that is positive, the friendship and camaraderie that can make a life worth living. This is a play for three actresses. Each actress plays three versions of the one character, each version somewhat different from the other. Each character exists in a separate but parallel universe, much like their own, yet different. Each actress also plays a character in an excerpt from a film in two of the three universes. The character is usually a son or a daughter. The characters are Amelia in Universe 1, who also plays Abby in Universe 2, who also plays Anne in Universe 3. Kate in Universe 1, who also plays Kathy in Universe 2, who also plays Katherine in Universe 3. Diana in Universe 1, who also plays Dee Dee in Universe 2, who also plays Dolores in Universe 3. Imagine the stage as a substantial semicircle divided into three segments and color-coded. Each segment is a different but parallel universe, much like our own, but with subtle differences. The lighting atmospheres, the sounds, even that of bird calls on a summer day, all mutate and morph. The characters in each world are fundamentally the same, but their choices, contexts, and opportunities have changed from one world to another. The frontal horizontal strip of the stage is unlocalized, an area of slippage between one world and another, a half world, if you like, of dream, hallucination, and out-of-body experience. There is a curved cyclorama at the back of the stage. In the play, every scene or part of a scene is played three times, once in each universe. The dialogue often remains the same, but the pressure under which it is put, that is, the context of any given universe, is obviously different. Another audience element, in terms of dramatic irony, that which the audience know after any given scene is run for the first time, is its awareness of the differences between replayed versions of scenes, how even slight dialogue changes can make huge differences, not only to our understanding of any given universe, but also to the trajectory of the character. Three women various. Unlocalized staged area. A dreamlike light in which each character is clearly separated from the other and does not see the other. A soft musical buzz like that of cicadas on a summer day. A keynote musical motif associated with Universe 1 and accompanied by a signature lighting state for this universe, rises and falls over the musical buzz as Amelia enters the unlocalized area from Universe 1 into a haze of light.
Did you ever feel that you were not alone? That you had been here in this very same situation? That this...
Kathy enters the unlocalized area from Universe 2 into a haze of light. Amelia also says the lines, but she is barely audible.
Has happened to you before. Maybe not exactly the same situation. Maybe not.
A keynote musical motif associated with Universe 3 and accompanied by the signature lighting state for that universe rises and falls over the musical buzz as Dolores enters the unlocalized area from Universe 3 into a haze of light. Both Amelia and Kathy continue to say the lines, but barely audible.
Exactly the same adrenaline charge of feeling, maybe not exactly the same designer dress or airbrush jeans.
But...
Near.
Enough.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
In some other life.
In some other time.
In some other circumstance.
As the musical buzz of the cicadas mutates into the sounds of a summer's evening and the musical motif of Universe 1, the dreamlike light of the unlocalized area crossfades into the major lighting state of Universe 1. We are on the terrace of an imposing mansion whose greensward vistas one can imagine vanishing into the far distance. The women are relaxing in their own company. They are somewhat mellow, the drinks, cabinet, or trolley being prominent. The cyclorama is bathed in a milky blue evening light, perhaps with suggestions of Hamlet's in the far distance, as if it were a Constable prospect painted by Turner. Amelia, who is in her late 30s or perhaps early 40s, is a striking woman with tawny blonde hair. Initially, she gives the impression of being somewhat Rubensian. But this, as we will find, is due to the baggy sweaters and overly casual clothes that she wears. She is a housewife who feels herself trapped in a boring marriage to a fundamentally decent man. There is a restless quality to her. She seems to alternate this restlessness with almost supine moments. Kate is a tall, stringy woman capable of a sharp and aspirative tongue, who, when she is made up, as here, she has an angular, rangy beauty and a perfect carriage. Physically, and indeed intellectually, she is quite capable of dealing with any given situation. She is an ambitious detective, rather short on idealism, but high on pragmatism, who is married to a property developer. Diana is Rubensian, reeking of all those elements that money can buy, her husband having left her plenty. She enjoys her pleasures, food, clothes, wine, men, her deep, throaty laugh being a living testament to joie de vivre. She has a splendid house, a splendid lawn. The one thing she doesn't have is the husband she loved. There is a bottle of wine, uncorked, on the table, and several empty ones. Diana swoops down carrying 3 substantial cocktails.
Amelia? Kate? To us.
What is it?
Sex on the beach. Really? My next door neighbor's daughter showed me how to make it. I just doubled the amount of vodka.
But we're drinking wine.
Not now, we're not. What's the problem? You have sex on the beach, then you celebrate with wine, and you have more sex, preferably in a different position. Then you...
Enjoy yourself with the neck of the wine bottle.
That's disgusting, Diana.
Oh, wise up, Amelia. Get a life. Get that boring young fart of a husband into gear. If you saw 1/100th of what I see every day on the job, you...
You can spare us the detail, Kate.
I prefer young men myself.
Would you get them if you weren't rich?
Kate!
Oh, don't be so punctitiously moralistic, Amelia. Relax. Go on, down it all. Who's going to see you here? It's just us.
Pie-eyed, legless, and gasping for a man. Any man. Even my redoubtable husband.
At least he's always there.
Not at weekends. Always seems to have a property deal at weekends.
I suppose a variable shift pattern at the station is the cement that casts the relationship in concrete.
Ouch. Ooh.
Penny for your thoughts. Amelia.
What?
You're like someone in those science fiction programs. What do you call it? Like someone in suspended animation.
I was just daydreaming.
It's evening, dear.
So?
And what were your daydreams?
Did you ever think that there's not just this life? Not just this boring, endless swamp of trivia? No, I don't mean an afterlife or reincarnation. It's not religious. I mean, imagine if there were people, not just like me and you, but actually me and you in some other universe. Not out there deep amongst the stars, but here, right here, in some other parallel time. Maybe we're a whole universe inside a grain of sand, and we exist amid some endless beach. Our worlds slowly evolving, and maybe our worlds explode when some armor-plated dinosaur crushes a grain of under the thudding hammer of its foot. Imagine you and me in another world. Maybe Diana's husband never died. Maybe Kate never joined the police force. Maybe I never married Sean. Imagine.
I think you need a drink, Amelia. Badly. We all dream. It takes away the hurt. But they're just dreams, phantasms, hallucinations in the early morning light, when you wake up, your heart pounding, thinking I see him, standing in his usual position by the window, small cheroot in hand. He never could sleep through an entire night, could Jerry? Always had to get up quietly, stand by the window, staring out over this view. Sometimes I'd be half awake, watching him under my eyelids, standing there solitary, lonely, wanting me to be awake beside him. And then he'd pat over, bend down, and kiss me lightly on the cheek and slip into bed beside me. His hand reaching out for mine, holding me, showing me that he loved me, only me, needed me. And like a boy, he'd snuggle up, his head resting on my arm and one broad hand cupped around my knee. I think I need a drink.
How long is it now? 7 years?
7 years, 3 months, and 14 days. September the 10th in the year of our Lord, Judas Iscariot, 1017. You're talking of parallel universes, Amelia? Did you ever wonder what our life would be like if instead of the Jews, the Christians had ruled?
Same difference. We're all just human.
Same difference? Oh, I don't want to believe that.
Well, what do you want then?
Me. I want to believe that our lives will change in another world. I want to believe that I can. Ugh, what the hell? Be happy.
She snatches up her glass, downs a huge swig, and swings Kate around by the arms. Then Diana, then grabs a metal mixing stirrer and starts banging out a beat on the table. They all join in, banging a rhythm with whatever is to hand, putting a glossolia, a vocal bass, booms, etc., until a round develops a pure expression of repressions relaxed and high spirits let loose. As the sounds and lights of a summer's evening in Universe 1 fades, Universe 2 slowly illuminates a very different light and atmosphere to a musical pattern that is reminiscent of Paris, but yet oddly different. The sounds that percolate the scene are urban and reminiscent of Paris. The hum of bicycles, scooters, the distant peal of the bells of Notre Dame, cars, the busy throng of endless tourists passing by, mixed in is the dominant musical motif of this universe. On the cyclorama, we see a slightly abstracted view of Parisian-style cityscape, as if painted by Vermeer in the style of the View of Delft, with its warm brick walls and its pointillist touches of light. It is mid to late afternoon, and we are at a Parisian cafe, the three of them sitting at a table outside, accompanied by the occasional distinctive sound of a Parisian police car, alarms skirling in the not too distant far distance. Abby, in her late 30s, is a striking woman with tawny blonde hair, fetchingly offset with a black and red ribbon. She is an architect, a senior partner, and dresses accordingly, elegant but austere. She has an alert, skeptical, but practical intelligence, is the driving force of the partnership, and is also the major breadwinner in her household. But ever so often, the sharp alertness slips into an almost supine moment. Kathy, a school cleaner, who went to school with Abby, had been in the same class but had wild and been expelled, and even been arrested for minor theft, had finally settled down into a cleaner's job and quietly domesticity. She likes the chat of the school kids, earns enough to survive on, and is married to a craftsman carpenter who makes furniture while he can. Unambitious and not particularly pretty, she seems uncomfortable with her body. Her dress sense is minimal, but she radiates kindness, warmth, and decency. Dee Dee, who teaches in the same school as Kathy, desperately wants to improve herself. Her minimal education, then secretarial work, she finally took her degree and is now teaching information technology, while pondering how to progress her career beyond the school. Her husband is controlling, but she is capable of great stubbornness. She dreams of a proper partner and of a really fulfilling job.
Merci bien. Abby. Kathy. To us.
What is it?
Sex on the beach. Really? My next door neighbor's daughter taught me how to make it. I just asked for the vodka to be doubled.
But we're drinking wine.
Not now, we're not. What's the problem, Abby? You have sex on the beach, then you celebrate with wine, then you have more sex, preferably, I'm right, aren't I, Diddy, in a different position, then you
Enjoyed yourself with the neck of the wine bottle.
That is disgusting, Dee Dee.
Wise up, Abby, get a life, get that boring young fart of a husband into gear. If you saw 1/100th of what I see every day on this job.
You can spare us the detail, Kate.
I prefer older men myself.
Would you have him if he wasn't rich?
Oh, don't be so punctitiously moralistic, Abby. Relax. You're not in the architect's office now. Go on, just down it all. Who's going to notice you here? It's just us.
Pie-eyed, legless, and gasping for a man. Any man. Even my redoubtable husband.
He's always there.
Oh, not much at weekends. Goes down to his workshops. Craftsman is my Henry, makes proper furniture, perfect reproductions, does that boring carpentry during the weekdays.
I suppose a variable shift pattern at work is the cement that casts a relationship in concrete.
Oh, ouch.
Penny for your thoughts. Abby.
What?
You are like someone in a sci-fi movie in suspended animation.
I was just daydreaming.
It's evening, dear.
So,
And what were your daydreams?
do you ever think that there's not just this life not just this boring, endless swamp of trivia. No, I don't mean an afterlife or reincarnation. It is not religious. I mean, for God's sake, imagine if there were people, not just like me and you, but actually me and you in some other universe. Not out there deep amongst the stars, but here, right here in some other parallel time. Maybe we're a whole universe inside a grain of sand, and we exist amid some endless beach, our world slowly evolving. And maybe our world will implode or will explode when some armor-plated dinosaur crushes a grain under the thudding hammer of its foot. Imagine you and me in another world. Maybe, someone ruined our Paris, cut down our ancient streets, replaced them with broad, straight boulevards. Maybe they built some monstrosity, like a gigantic tower built out of base metal instead of honest stone. Maybe I never married a minor civil servant who can't pull his financial weight. Oh, imagine.
I think you might need a drink, Abby. We all dream. It takes away the hurt. But they're just dreams, they're phantasms, hallucinations in the early morning light when you wake up, your heart pounding, thinking, I see him standing in his usual position by the window, small cigar in hand. He never could sleep through an entire night, could our George? Always had to get up, oh so quietly, and stand by the window, staring out, thinking of some other woman. Sometimes I'd be half awake watching him under my eyelids, standing there solitary, oh so lonely, wanting her to be with him. And then he'd pat over quietly, bend down and kiss me lightly on the cheek, and ever so quietly slip into bed. Beside me? No. His hand reaching out for hers, holding hers, showing her that he only loves her, needs only her. And like a guilty little schoolboy, he'd slowly snuggle up, his head resting on my arm, feeling hers, one hand cupped around my knee, sensing hers. Ugh, I think I need a drink.
How long have you been married now? 7 years?
7 years, 3 months, and 14 days. September the 10th, in the year of the monarchy, in the year of the millennium. You're talking of parallel universes, Abby? Did you ever wonder what our world would be like if the Republicans had won?
Same difference. We're all just human.
Same difference. I don't believe that.
What do you want?
Me. I want to believe that our lives can, might, will change in another world. I want to believe that I can, oh, what the hell, be happy.
She snatches up her glass, downs a huge swig, and drunkenly swings Kathy around by the arms. Then Dee Dee, then grabs a metal mixing stirrer and starts banging out a beat on the table. She tries to sing an inarticulate gorge of bitterness and fury until finally the stirrer misses the table altogether and she falls in a heap on the floor, dead drunk. Slowly crossfade to Universe 3. As we do so, the curving arc of the cyclorama quietly melds and flames in a profusion of gentle colors, colored oils on slides, expanding in the heat, accompanied by the dominant musical motif of this universe and its dominant lighting state. We are in the editing studio of Dolores, herself a film editor who considers editing to be the real art in filmmaking. Her husband enjoys her company when he can get it, though she spends much of her spare time making a documentary on the nature of time. She has a one-track mind. Work and play are the same thing to her. And it doesn't occur to her that husbands need at least as much attention as jobs do. Her clothes are purely functional. She works in a warm environment, And she has an oddly sensuous walk, which makes men think of sex and makes women admire her. Katherine is a psychiatrist who specializes in marital problems and who is intrigued by the world of dreams, is extremely moral in the manner of situation ethics. She is professionally observant all the time. She uses her height authoritatively and is instinct with intelligence, which is why her husband is combative, cool, and ruefully amused. And then there is Anne, an artist in mid-career who is beginning to get large public art commissions for the first time and who makes art videos. She is going out with Stephen, the editor of a regional newspaper. As her friends often point out, she has been in a series of relationships, most of which petered out. She can dress with an artist's flair, able to wear odd combinations of clothes and bring it off. Deep down, she thinks she has found the right man. Her dominant characteristic is a sensual languorousness, which can suddenly explode into excitable, passionate involvement.
She's late.
She's always late. She's an artist.
Still working on that documentary?
See for yourself.
She presses a button and 3 images, all heads and shoulders, side by side, flare onto the cyclorama, replacing all, or most of, the previous image. Image 1, on the left, looks exactly like Anne, only much younger. Image 2 looks exactly like Katherine, only much younger. And image 3 is of a tousled, handsome young man in his early 20s. The left hand, in half profile, seems to bypass the young man to concentrate on the head on the right. The images have a slight soft focus, reeking of a hothouse femininity. They dominate the entire space of the cyclorama.
That's my niece. That's Roberta.
And that's my daughter, my Katie.
That is my son, David.
And just what are you up to, Dolores? It's not that documentary on time that you're always banging on about.
No, I don't exactly think so.
You're making an artist video just for me.
You make quite enough of those yourself, Annie. Sorry, Anne. After the last one, I contemplated leaving the world of marital problems. You artists are evidently much more in need of a good psychiatrist like me.
Well, Dolores, are you going to tell us, or is this a game of 20 questions?
Not a bad idea. All right. They've been shooting a short film. Quite a nice little script, but then in the beginning, it began to change.
And you?
I was asked to edit it as a favor to a friend.
Well, can we see it?
If you want, it's just a rough cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lighting change, the images remain on the cyclorama. The 3 women, Dolores, Katherine, and Anne, step into the unlocalized space and act out the film. The light is warm, ripe, soft, and sunny. The soundtrack has classical motifs, which are given a spiky contemporary edge. Dolores plays David. Anne plays Katie. Katherine plays Roberta. A clapperboard sound. Scene 4, take 2. Roberta, Katherine, lies on her belly, legs in the air, reading and observing any passing talent. David, Dolores, head miles away, slouches past. There is a squeal in the distance. David half turns as Katie, Anne, shouts his name, comes running over and jumps on his back, piggyback style. Roberta observes with interest as Katie blindfolds David with her hands.
Well, you're coming to the party or not, David?
Get off my back, Katie, and I'll tell you. No.
David? You're always so morose. Tell me you don't like me. Go on.
You know I do.
Then take me to the party. I don't want to go with anyone else.
I hate parties.
But you like me.
Yes. I really like you.
Roberta is watching Katie, not David. Swift crossfade over which we hear clapboard sound and scene 10, take 5. Roberta is talking to David. They are in a quiet bar. He is a little pissed.
She's nice, Katie, isn't she?
Not good at talking to girls, you know.
You just let us do the talking, okay? Well, why don't you come to my place, say at 8 for coffee? We can talk about it.
Swift crossfade over which we hear the clapboard and scene 43, take 1. Katie is sitting cross-legged, perhaps on the ground, perhaps on a settee.
David was supposed to be here for 7, wasn't he?
He probably just got delayed. You know, men, never on time, never dependable. I like your hair. He's nice, David, isn't he? Soft and warm.
And gentle. Never a harsh word. Kind.
Men.
Men.
Just imagine a world without men. It wouldn't be so bad.
Ha! What about sex?
No problem.
She slowly leans forward and kisses Katie full on the lips, pulls back to observe the effect. Katie doesn't quite know what to make of it. Roberta leans forward and kisses her full on the mouth, longer this time. Her arms cup around Katie as she pushes Katie onto her back, caressing her as Katie fumbles, uncertain how to handle it, attracted and repelled, guilty, curious, as Roberta's hands slide under Katie's jumper and over her breast. David enters. He stands, stunned, shocked, excited, appalled. They turn to look at him. Roberta in triumph, her hand still caressing Katie's breast. Katie aroused but hugely guilty and aware of how devastating this is for David. Slow crossfade to.
That's a bit rude when it's in the family.
Don't be so stuffy. Plenty there for the psychiatrist here.
Did you like the music? It's clever, isn't it? Classical motifs, contemporary edge, spiky.
You said it began to change in the shooting?
Yes. The last scene wasn't in the script. Seemingly, it just sort of happened. My director friend was ecstatic. Art house eroticism, he said, missing the point. It's quite tender.
Which is why it's erotic. Innocence and experience. Seduction of the innocent. The class between male and female.
Is this improvisation or docudrama? Director in search of kicks?
I think the writer engineered it myself. She's gay. Think anyone?
Crossfade to Universe 1. The continuation, after an interval of time, of the first scene. Universe 1. Late evening. Perhaps a starry sky on the cyclorama with the odd shooting star. Atmospheric night sounds. The mournful scrake of a bittern. Diana is opening yet another bottle. The place is littered with them.
So why don't you get a job, Amelia? We know you're bored. Your kids are halfway grown up. Spare cash always comes in useful.
Leave the girl alone, Kate. Sean has a decent job.
So even Diana, almost a millionaire Rockcliffe, does charity work.
True, but it becomes me. It fills in the empty spaces. Mustn't become maudlin. To us. From schoolgirls to mature girls, what we need is more sex on the beach.
No!
Oh, the sex would be nice.
Every 2 months. That's my motto. 5 days, young man, tight little bottom, preferably. 2 or 3 times a night. They can keep going when they're young.
Do you pay for it?
Of course I pay for it. Good wine, good food, good waiter service, first-class linen. I don't want to be involved again. Just sex, gratification.
You could remarry. There's probably a queue.
No. No, I'd always wake up in the middle of the night and I'd always see Jerry standing there at the window, smoking his cheroot. And I'd always feel the touch of his hand as he cut mine.
Don't you think Jerry would want you to remarry?
Of course he would, but he's dead. And I'm just living.
Well, we're all just living, Diana. All we can do is get on with it.
And how is Kenneth?
Well, by now he's probably screwing Jenny. That's his secretary. You can tell it's Jenny when he's on the phone to her. His voice goes soft and gentle, the way I remember when we first met. And then there's Penelope. She's the marketing manager of Transcam, one of the companies in the conglomerate. Whenever he goes to see her, he always puts on a silk shirt and checks that he has clean underwear. Obviously a fastidious lady. And then, you know the worst of it? I still love the bastard. It's ironic, isn't it? Thank you for your inquiry after Kenneth's health, Diana. I'll have another, please. So who is Sean screwing then?
Kate.
What? Sorry, I shouldn't drink. I'm sorry, Amelia. Goes with the job. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust. Only get hurt.
Sean, as you well know, is a nice, kind, decent, boring man. He lived on to his amateur drama rehearsal, Sheridan's The Rivals, flirted with the actresses, out to the second act. God, he'll talk about nothing else in bed, at night, or over breakfast. Even the kids turn off. And then he'll drop the kids off at school, having kissed me goodbye, and another day will commence. Cleaning, cooking, washing school uniforms, shopping, an endless stream of inconsequential conversations. I could scream.
You should have gone to university.
How could I? Daddy had just died. Mum earned a pittance. I had to work. I should never have stopped.
You could go back.
After 11 years? Look how the job's changed. I don't have the skills now.
You can learn. Anyone can learn. You just need the confidence.
Only.
You could go back. But maybe deep down you don't want to. We're all unsatisfied.
Oh, you can say that again.
If you want something, if you really, really want something, then you have to fight for it. You have to make it happen. You have to work for it. Oh, you know, we could all dream, fantasize, let the dreams tumble out like scenes in a movie. But if we want to live in a waking dream, then why complain when the dreams stay the same?
Alex, as Sean would say, you need luck, timing. Make one decision, things work out. Make another, consequences. You have to live with them, like it or not. I married him. I left my job. I got pregnant twice. And now I'm over the hill looking forward to what? 30 years, 40 years of unrelieved mediocrity? Do I want something? I'll tell you what I want. I want to be remembered. I want to leave something behind. I want sex and excitement and passion and true, true love. I want a man who'll worship me, who'll fuck me when I want to be fucked, who'll love me when I want to be loved. I want a man who can't keep his hands off me, who loves me for what I am. I don't want a man who sees me through his eyes. I want a man who sees me through mine. A man who sees into me, understands me, loves me for all my faults, all of my imperfections, who doesn't mind about my nose, who doesn't want to change me, show me off to the neighbors, carry me off like some trophy to his office or to his mates. I want a man with a penis the size of a giraffe. I want a man who'll hold me tight, kiss me lightly on my forehead, my eyelids, my nose, my lips. I want a man who'll tuck me into bed at night, who'll smooth my brow, who'll slide a tender finger down my back and wrap his hand along my bum. I want a man who'll blow me a kiss goodnight and leave before the early morning light. and then return, and return, and return, and return. I want.
In the early morning light, after the velvet black good night, I saw my love appear, a silver earring in his ear.
I asked him if he lied the night when we both richly cried. It was the truth, he said, as he lay there in the bed. We told each other everything. Our beating hearts began to sing. He held my hand in his as we kissed and kissed and kissed. But the problem was I lied so much I felt I had to hide. Then he found out in the morn. I wished I'd never had been born.
Now I live from day to day. I just work and pray. I'll never find his like again. I just eat my tender pain. I'll never find his like again. I'll just eat my tender pain.
Slow fade and crossfade to Universe 2, with its musical pattern reminiscent of Paris, yet oddly different. It is late evening. The traffic has quieted, and on the cyclorama, an evening sky panorama of cloud and moon and silvery light above a Parisian city outline. The chimes of Notre Dame seem much nearer, and the distinctive skirl of a gendarme's car erupts across our ears, occasionally with passing ferocity. There are 3 small coffee pots on the table, and the remains of dessert. Abby has almost sobered up. Dee Dee is pouring her another coffee.
So why don't you get a new job, Abby? We know you're bored. Your kids are halfway grown up. You don't need to worry about money.
Leave the girl alone, Abby. Her man has a decent job. There's nothing wrong with being a civil servant.
So, is Miss Dee Dee hoping to be a millionaire pervert engaged in charitable works?
True.
Hmm.
It becomes me. It fills in the empty spaces. You mustn't become maudlin. To us. From schoolgirls to mature girls, what we need is more sex. On the beach.
No!
Don't need the sex.
Every 2 months. That's what I'd like. 5 whole days, young man, pert little bottom preferably. 2 or 3 times a night. I'm told they can keep going when they're young.
Would you pay for it?
If I had your money, of course I would. Good wine, good food, good waiter service. Oh, soft linen sheets. I want to be involved with someone, not watch George wanting someone else. But in the meantime, just sex, gratification.
You could divorce him, remarry. There'd be a queue.
No. I'd always wake up in the middle of the night and I'd always see George standing there at the window smoking his cigar. And I'd always think it's going to happen again.
Do you think George wants a divorce?
Of course he does. But he's too cowardly to ask for it and I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. So as far as I'm concerned, he's dead. And I'm still living.
We're all just living, Dee Dee. All we can do is get on with it.
And how was your Henry?
Well, by now he'll have finished at the workshop, brushed up the sweepings, cleaned the lavatory. He's very particular about the lavatory. He'll have made himself supper. I left a pie in the oven and he'll have opened the paper. And in the armchair, he'll be sitting, one sinewy hand on the frayed armrest, legs crossed, paper on his knee, the other hand holding a bottle of beer, eyes half closed, content, waiting for me. I'll find him, likely as not, when I get back, asleep in that chair. And I'll kiss him on the forehead and he'll half smile and half awake and we'll pad up to bed. Thank you for your inquiry about Henry, my sweet and kind Dee Dee. So who is hubby screwing then?
Kathy.
I'm sorry. I don't trust anyone. except my Henry. You should hear the kids at school talking about what Mama and Papa get up to. Everyone gets hurt.
He's typical.
Okay.
Punctual civil servant. No ambition. So long as he stays there, he gets promoted. Would you believe it? I've had to organize him. Him, Mr. Efficiency at the office, as precise about paper clips as the crease in his trousers, elegantly orotund, fastidious in everything, so long as he has someone to do it for him. Oh, would he use a Hoover in the house? Would he? Would he lift a cup and saucer off the coffee table? Would he pick up a cushion off the floor? No chance. I could scream.
Aren't you lucky you went to university? All that book learning must come in useful.
And why didn't you go to university?
Well, how could I? Dad had just died. Mum earned a pittance. I've been thrown out of school twice. Not to mention the petty theft, remember? So I had to work.
You could go now.
After 11 years. Yeah. School cleaner goes to university. Yeah.
You can learn. Anyone can learn. You just need the confidence.
If only.
You could go. But maybe deep down you don't want to. Maybe you're the only one of us who really is satisfied.
You can say that again.
Look, if you want something, and I wanted education, still really want a good job, then you have to fight for it. You have to make it happen. You have to work for it. You know, we can all dream and fantasize, let the dreams tumble out like scenes in a movie. But if we want to live in a waking dream, then why complain if the dream stays the same?
As my dear husband would dream of saying, Alex, you need luck, timing, consequences, Dee Dee, consequences. You have to live with them, like it or not. I married him, I kept my job, I got pregnant, one was enough, and now I'm over the hill, mutton dressed as lamb, looking forward to 30, maybe 40 years of unrelieved work. Do I want something? I'll tell you what I want. I want to be remembered for my work. I'm a decent architect. I design houses for real people, not just designer spaces. I want to leave something of me behind. I want sex and excitement and passion and true love. Ridiculous, isn't it? I want a man who's my equal, who respects me, wants me, who can't keep his hands off me, who loves me for what I am. I don't want a man who sees me through his eyes. I want a man who sees me with his brain, who will learn to love me imperfections and all, who doesn't mind about my height, my job, my clothes, who my friends are,
An unsettling, dissonant hum has crept in. Crossfade. The hum continues through the following unlocalized scene. Kathy and Dee Dee emerge into the unlocalized area. They are lit separately in a dream-like light and are not aware of each other. In Universe 2, Abby is backlit.
It was all going so well.
We were beginning to understand each other so much more completely.
Abby had half turned round, perhaps something out of the corner of her eye.
Reflection in the window?
Maybe it was because she was well dressed, looking prosperous.
Maybe she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It could have been any of us.
1 second she was standing there, arm upraised as if to make a point, that slow curling smile of hers, like smoke around the mouth, and then...
Random. Purely random.
He knifed her. Just...
one short stab and he was gone.
She seemed to stand there for ages. We couldn't seem to move. And then...
just like one of those slow motion bits in a movie.
She crumpled to the floor. We took her to the hospital.
Crossfade back to Universe 3, hospital. Abby is in a hospital chair. There is, perhaps, a ward image on the cyclorama. The dissonant hum has mutated into a low bass rumble, which underscores the song.
In the early morning light, after the dark and black good night, I saw my death appear, a silver earring in its ear.
I asked him if he'd lie about the day I had to die. No, I won't, he said, as he stared up from the bed.
Told each other everything, our beating hearts began to sing. He held my hand in his as we kissed and kissed and kissed.
But the problem was I lied.
So much I felt I had to hide.
Then he found me in the morn.
I wish I had never been born. Now I live from day to day. I just work and pray.
I'll never find myself again.
I'll just eat my tender pain.
I'll never find myself again. I'll just eat my tender pain.
Slow, languorous crossfade to Universe 3. The cyclorama is like a slow explosion of soft primary colors, melding and coalescing. We can hear a slightly dissonant undertow of music, pulsing, retreating, pulsing, tapering into a dying fall, then creeping forward into our consciousness. Dolores is at work on a shot list. There are bottles of wine, spirits, etc., and glasses laid out on a bench table. Anne has just made an entrance, slightly different clothes, including an elegant coat.
Just finishing a shot list, Annie. Anne, help yourself.
Can't you afford a better class of toilet, Dolores?
It's sex on the beach. Really, Freddie taught me how to make it. We have it as a nightcap. I've just quadrupled the amount of gin in deference to Katherine.
I thought we were drinking wine.
You can speak for yourself. You see, professionally speaking, you clearly have a problem, Anne. Sex on the beach is what you really want, which is, of course, why you don't get it, because sozzled with wine, you're incapable before you even start.
She enjoys herself with the neck of the wine bottle.
And this is psychologically significant.
You two are disgusting. Retarded adolescents.
Wise up, Anne. That's a professional observation, by the way. I won't charge. Get another husband. Several, if you want. Is she even going out with anyone, Dolores? Look, if you saw and heard even 1/100th of what I have to put up with on the couch.
You can spare us the clinical detail, Katherine. I'm not one of your patients.
Clients. Not patients, clients.
I prefer older men myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the three, David is definitely the oldest and the most active of all of my husbands so far.
Would you have married him if he wasn't rich?
Kate.
Oh, don't be so colonial, Katherine. Relax, you're not in the psychiatric chair now. Go on, down it all.
Oh.
Who's gonna notice you here? It's just us.
High-eyed, legless, and gasping for a man. Any man. Even the redoubtable husband of my magnificent Dolores.
Have you got designs on my man, Katherine?
No.
He's always available. Dolores is always working.
Not at weekends. Down to the country cottage, plenty of booze, lots of sex, and just possibly
Sex?
That too.
I suppose a precise shift pattern at play is the cement that casts a relationship in concrete.
Penny for your thoughts. Anne.
What?
You're like someone in one of those appalling science fiction films. Suspended animation.
I was just daydreaming.
It's evening, and
Oh, don't be so rational.
Daydream, evening dream. So,
Okay. If they're not too private, what are your daydreams?
Did you ever think, even in that dark world of yours, that there's not just this life, not just our boring, endless swamp of trivia and other people's problems, not just a simple, singular, linear, unceasing flow.
Well,
I don't mean an afterlife or reincarnation. I am not religious. I mean, for God's sake, if there were people, not just like me or you, Dolores, or you, Catherine, but actually me and you in some other universe, not out there, but here, right here, in some other parallel time, I can make a video out of this. Just think, maybe life is a waking dream or a dreaming wake. Maybe we, all of this, all of that, maybe it, us, we, our whole universe inside a grain of sand. Maybe we, us, it exist, a single grain of universe amidst an endless beach of universes. And maybe, just maybe, our worlds implode, explode, collapse into black holes or quasars when some armor-plated dinosaur crushes a grain of sand under the thudding hammer of its foot. Oh, just imagine you two, me, you, and you, the three of us, St. Genevieve's three female musketeers, existing in another world. Think of it. Imagine a world, Catherine, in which, minor figures, footnotes, what do you call them? People like Fraud or Young actually dominated your profession. We would all be sex fixated and dominated by notions of the collective unconscious.
Ha.
Imagine a world in which we didn't dream, in which men gave birth and women ruled. Good idea for a public art piece. Imagine a world in which I fell in love, deeply, truly, absolutely, with no regrets.
How boring! And I'd be out of a job. Besides, you have fallen in love, huh? Bright boy, I gather. Editor of a regional newspaper. You've kept him under wraps. Plain paper parcel, lust inside.
I think you two should just get sloshed. We all dream. Imagine. I do it when I'm editing. Good definition of editing that, the strength to dream. You see, I think life is much better edited, shaped, informed. I can control the time mechanism. Flash forward, flashback, intercut, superimposition, like a Swiss watch of infinitely complex design, cog within cog, wheel within wheel, time slowing, slipping forward, speeding up, disintegrating. Do you know the best time for editing? In the early morning light, when you're half awake, heart pounding, feeling the flow of the images, seeing them, seeing him, hero, villain, husband, whatever, standing there by the window, all human life. Is he thinking of some other woman? His wife? His children? His first love? Now I can make him think, make the audience think they see something that was never there. I can create out of a space between two images. I can introduce meaning. And like a guilty little schoolgirl, I smile at my director and oh so softly say, "How clever! That's what you intended. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to see the subtleties of your rhythmic direction." Which reminds me, I've never edited one of your videos, have I, Anne?
How long have you been married now? 7 years?
Let's see. Yeah, 7 years, 3 months, and 14 days. So that means I was 15 when I got married.
You mean 55?
Same difference. We are all, or so I almost believe, human. Now, what precisely do you want?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Me. I want to believe that our dreams tell us useful stories. That our dreams are other worlds where, if I'm tired, anxious, or just wanting to escape, we can slip away to. I want to believe that I meet myself, or myself, in these other worlds. That they will recognize me, love me, want me. That they will tell me how much better I am in this new and resplendent world where money is of no matter, where pain is but a memory, where all my projects are realizable, and where I can exist fully in the mirror of myself. Oh, what the hell? Let's all be happy. Let's.
Penny for your thoughts. And
What?
You're like someone in one of those appalling science fiction films. Suspended animation.
I was just daydreaming.
It is evening.
Don't be so rational. Let's. Strange. Deja vu. Did I just repeat myself?
No.
no.
Oh.
So why don't you get married, Anne?
Leave the girl alone, Catherine. She's not an analysis yet.
Mm.
To us, from schoolgirls to mature girls, what we need is sex.
No.
Yes.
In Catherine's case, every 2 months, two
Mhm.
times a night at specified times and in specified positions. Hubby in socks and suspenders only, and carrying his Filofax.
Mhm.
You could remarry. There's probably a queue of nice theatrical young men.
No, I prefer deferred gratification.
That's a Catherine one.
Okay, dearest Anne, do tell us about this nice editor.
How do you know he's nice?
Stop prevaricating, woman, and get on with it. We want the gossip.
Well, he's so gorgeous and huggable and intelligent and whatever other adjectives our pet psychiatrist would like to use. I think I'm in love.
Tell us all.
No.
No.
Okay. Tell us about hubby then, Dolores.
I like him. I think he likes me. End of story.
Are you happy, Catherine, with your job?
It's as good as it gets. Maybe I could go back and start all over again. Lots of other people have done it. But
But what? You're okay for money. You could start again, couldn't you? But maybe, just maybe, somewhere down in that stony heart of yours, you don't want to. We're all of us all the time unsatisfied.
If you want something, really, really want something, then you have to fight for it.
Make it happen.
You have to work for it.
Oh, we can all dream, fantasize, let the dreams tumble out like scenes in a movie.
bollocks. That's another professional opinion, by the way. You need luck and timing and the wit to make the right decision. You have to live with the consequences, whether you like it or not. I'm over the hill. End of story.
Maybe you are. So what? Do you want something? Really passionately want something? I want me to be recognized for what I am. A woman who makes time to do her bidding, who controls time, who controls life, who edits life, who creates life. And I will have what I want. I learn every day. And I will continue to learn. And someday, if I live long enough, the world will see itself in my image. You can do the same. You just have to want it hard enough. Men, sex, all that stuff, it's all ephemeral. Just ephemeral.
That's one way of putting it. Come on, relax. Let's take it easy. Remember when we used to get out of school and nip down to the park and gorge on chocolate and nice crummy boys? And then as the afternoon wore on, we'd chat and sing and dander back home. Come on, let's sing.
Yo.
In the early morning light, after the long dream of the night, I saw my love appear. a silver earring in his ear.
I asked him why he smiled. We had walked a long, long mile. It was my warmth, he said, as we lay there in the bed. We told each other everything. Our beating hearts began to sing. He held my hand in his, and we kissed and kissed and kissed.
And now I live from day to day. I just feel his love and pray. I smile even in the rain. I hope I'll never feel pain. I smile even in the rain. I hope I'll never feel the pain. Oh no, not the pain. No, I'll never feel the pain.
Lights slowly fade to blackness, leaving the luminous stars on the cyclorama shining down on us amidst the black immensities of space itself. End of Act 1.